We freaking have 3D acceleration on this system. Finally. Hello everyone, Nathan here with a pixel fragment video. Just a little project side thing that I wanted to look at today. And I had an idea for taking a early 3D accelerator, namely the original Voodoo, and pairing it up with a particularly slow Pentium. Some of you who've been watching the channel may recall that I picked up a huge lot of old computers, beige boxes, earlier this year, and among, various 486 systems, there was quite a lot of early Pentium systems as well. And in particular, there was one that caught my eye as a potential fun kind of project box that we'll get a look at here in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the graphics card that I want to try in it. Now, of course, you're all familiar with the original Voodoo, and this one here is kind of your classic example from Orchid. It's an early partner card, actually the first one. And, this would be fun to use in, any kind of Voodoo build. But like all other Voodoo cards, it does require a 2D card to go along with it. But recently I got pretty lucky. I found a lot of graphics cards, and I like to look out for these, kind of vaguely listed lots of computer parts. And sometimes you find some hidden gems. And this lot in particular, for not a whole lot of money, had quite a few cards in them. Most of them not really that desirable, but it did have a Voodoo Rush. Now, for those that are not familiar, a Voodoo Rush is more or less essentially the original Voodoo with 2D strapped on, so you have it all contained in one card. It gets a little more complicated than that. This chip in particular is not exactly the same as its equivalent on the original Voodoo, but that's a topic for another day. For the purposes of this video, all you need to know is that this is an all-in-one solution that just makes it a little easier for, just building these early Voodoo systems and Pentium builds. And you may have noticed we're kind of missing something here. And that's because this had a texture memory issue. And I'm going to try something today to maybe fix this. If it doesn't work out, then the video will go on just with the regular Voodoo card. But I'd like to get this one working because I don't have one of these in my collection. So obviously, I've already removed the memory chips and I got replacements in the mail. So we're going to go ahead and solder these on. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but because this is going to be pretty tight soldering, especially these inner pads here. It's going to be kind of a challenge, but yeah, we'll see if that fixes it. All right, I got everything set up here. Now I think what my strategy is going to be, because the innermost pads are going to be the hardest to do, especially when I get the second row on. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just tack one or two spots on the outside and pre-load these pads on the inside with solder. Then use the hot air to melt the inner pads, and then finish tacking the outer ones. And we'll see if that works. All right, so I got the inner row of pads preloaded with solder. So did have one pad lift up, did not come detached. So I'm just hoping that it won't be a problem, but I'm ready to start tacking down the memory chips. All right, well, there's a very good reason I didn't film that, and that's because my process for, soldering the middle part here did not go according to plan for whatever reason. And it gets pretty, I don't know, it looks fine now, I guess, but it was amateur hour to say the least. And I think I managed to coat the entire pin on every leg of the big old blob of solder, but I mean, for the most part, everything looks good, connected, nothing is joined. So I think, actually, there's one joined right there. There we go. Yeah. I don't really know anything about what I'm doing, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and run with it for now, and we'll see how it goes. All right, well, we're here at the capture setup, and frankly, if this works, I would be shocked. It would be miraculous. But we're gonna go ahead and hit the power switch on my Pentium 2 test system here and just see what happens. Okay, so splash screen came up. I wouldn't expect that to change since I just, you know, I soldered the texture memory on the Voodoo side of things. The 2D side of things should be unaffected. All right, so we are booted up. I just put the disk in for Croc. And so it should be loaded up here. And then let's set it to Voodoo Rush mode. And let's just see what it looks like. Oh, well, looks like it froze. So there's my answer. I'll be honest, I'm not really surprised that my amateur fix didn't work. Okay, so it didn't freeze. Oh, geez. Yep. Okay. I guess we'll scratch that idea. All right, so obviously that didn't go according to plan. If anything, I kind of made it worse, looks like. But we will continue on with just a normal Voodoo graphics card. And I think now is time to introduce the system that I'm going to use to test it on. And again, this is from that big lot of computers that I recovered early this year. This is using a Pentium at only 75 megahertz. And we are going to open it up. And in order to get data onto it, I'm borrowing a SD to IDE adapter from another computer just to make transferring files quite a bit easier. I might have to install an optical drive, but I don't know if I'll do that for just this test. Let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a look inside. Now, I haven't had this thing on in several months. The old adage, it worked the last time I used it, applies here in this case. But we do have a Dallas chip here, which is thoroughly dead, and I don't have a remedy for that at the moment, but it shouldn't be an issue. Some motherboards of this era wouldn't boot without a working clock chip. This one did, so that's good. We also see a plug for a Coast module if I wanted to add more cache, which is kind of neat. And the hard drive was working as well last time. It's got really a bare bones stock Windows 95 installation on there, and only 8 megabytes of RAM, which we might have to go ahead and add some for all the tests that I want to run. But I think for now, let's not touch anything until we go ahead and power it on and make sure that we're still in good shape to continue. All right, so we're ready for our magic smoke test, and I think hopefully if any sparks flag, we might actually catch a glimpse of it on camera here. And if so, this is going to be an explosive episode of Pixel Fragment. So let's hit the power button and see what happens. The hard drive still sounds healthy. Yay! And we got some on the screen. I do like that it has an auto detect for the IDE drive, so I don't have to have them pre-configured for it to see those drives. That'll be good when I add the SD card adapter in. All right, let's see if Windows still boots off the drive. Starting Windows 95. Oh man, it's so noisy, but it sounds really good. Man, you can make a ASMR video just with that hard drive alone. Let's try and line this up a little better. Okay, so to say Orlando Tech on the hard drive, but last time I checked, there was basically nothing on it. No proprietary software, no sensitive data. And we do see we are looking at a 812 meg hard drive, so that's plenty of space for what we need. So yeah, Orlando Tech, that would have been presumably a college. Yeah, there's, I mean, pretty much nothing. I think we are good to go to install the SD card adapter, get some programs loaded on here that will utilize the Voodoo card, and maybe add some RAM. So I'm gonna skip ahead here after some of that's been done. All right, so I got the SD IDE controller in there. Haven't upgraded the RAM yet. We're just gonna see how far we can get with the 8 megs that are in there for just the handful of tests that I have lined up to try for today. And I did also go ahead and hook up a serial mouse, so that'll be a little easier as well. And you see it is detected there, so that's good. Alright, so it was trying to load a device, probably the serial card that I removed. So I'm going to try and see if that's something I can remove from the auto exec and be able to boot up again. Well, I looked at the drivers that Windows loads in the system INI, and I didn't see what it was complaining about, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Alright, let's see if it pops up again. It was just kind of sitting here. Okay, yeah, so while initializing device VF backup could not load vfd.vxd. Please run setup again. Oi. Alright, so it did throw up a little error in trying to boot Windows when I installed that SD IDE adapter, and it was saying something about a vfd.vxd could not be loaded. After kind of fiddling with it a little bit and doing some searches, turns out all I needed to do was turn on Smart Drive, and that solved that issue. So we are up and running. Let's go ahead and get some stuff installed on here. Unable to write to disk at drive C. Oh. Okay. Oh no. It's gonna do this the whole time. Nope, never mind. We got more problems, and I think the hard drive is the culprit. It might be on its way out. ScanDisk is saying, cannot perform a surface scan on this drive till all errors are corrected. Run ScanDisk again. Okay. 316 invalid directory entries were removed. Right. So either I need a new hard drive or I'm not sure. Well, retro computers can never be simple, can they? And as much as I would love to use, you know, the original clunky hard drive, it's just going to take too long to figure out what the issue is. So I went ahead and connected the SD to IDE adapter directly to the first IDE channel. The hard drive controller seems to be working just fine. Got a fresh install of Windows 95 on here, and apparently this one has internet shortcuts. How quaint. But we'll get rid of that. So some of my benchmarks are actually in DOS mode, so let's go ahead and start there. Let's go ahead and switch over to the Tomb Raider demo. And I was messing with this a little bit before. It doesn't appear to... Uh-oh. Alright, I was literally just testing this, and now it's frozen hard. Okay, then. Alright, well, whatever. A hard reset got us into the demo. So we're just going to let it sit here for a second and go into the demo mode. It will have its pre-recorded showcase of the game. Now, as you can see, this is pretty much a slideshow. This is running at the full resolution. Apparently, the Tomb Raider demo does not have the FPS counter. I tried all the function keys, and so we're just going to have to look with the naked eye. And we can clearly tell this is in the single digits. I mean, yeah. Something like this, you would really need to run it at a lower resolution. I think that's F2, if you want to check that out real quick. There we go. So, yeah, running at a lower resolution, I believe this should be 320 by 240 or something like that. This is pretty much the only way you would have been able to play this game on a Pentium this slow, only 75 megahertz. Well, that's not very stable for some reason. Alright, next we're going to try out Quake. And we'll do this in Windows. It's going to complain about not having a sound card or a CD player. But we can go ahead and do time demo 1. Oops. Alright, and then we'll see how this goes. Alright, 19.6. And the reason I'm testing this in Windows is because the Voodoo version of this will also be running in Windows. It's pretty close to running in DOS mode. I think there's only like half a frame difference. And lastly, we'll try Quake 2. And I expect this, if it even runs, to be an absolute horrendous slideshow. It's slow even on the fastest Pentium. You know what, honestly, this is a little bit better than I expected. Incidentally, I forgot to mention, I did go ahead and upgrade the memory. I found some EDO memory from a newer system. I got way more memory than I meant to. So currently we have 64 megs of memory, which is massively overkill. But whatever. Apparently the memory that was in here, the 8 megs, was only FPM, so, you know. Alright, so with the time demo completed, you can see we got 8.6 FPS. So we have kind of our baseline here of how things are running on a 75 megahertz Pentium. So the next thing left is to go ahead and install that Voodoo. Alright, got the Voodoo installed. We're going to start in DOS mode with the Tomb Raider demo here. And it should work with the... just make sure I know what I'm doing here. Tomb 3D FX. And let's see what happens. Please insert the Tomb Raider CD. I swear I've tried this before. I'll have to come back to that one, I guess. Well, anyway, moving along inside Windows, we got the drivers installed for the card, and I'm hoping that I can just install GL Quake on the demo version. Let's see. Yes. Successfully installed. Okay, that's looking hopeful. Let's give it a shot. Maybe I should turn this light off. No RGB full screen modes available. Crap. Really? Okay. Cool. Alright. I guess we're skipping to the Quake 2 demo. One of these damn things is gonna work. Alright, OpenGL for 3D effects. Pretty please. Come on! Alright, well, we've officially reached the stage of retro computing where the drinks are starting to flow, i.e. the long and arduous process of trying to make a thing that should work finally do what it's supposed to do. So, what we're trying now is simply an older driver, and the longer this takes, the more drunk I will be. So let's hope this works this time, so I can complete this video without slurring my words. Let's see, options. Nope. Video. 3D effects. Come on. Damn it. Oi. Well, does GL Quake behave any differently? I've got to do this again. No RGB full screen. All right. You know, just to see if this card is even working in this machine at all, I'm going to locate some tech demos for the 3DFX Voodoo, and let's just see if we can at least get those running so that we know that there's not some kind of compatibility issue or something. I have another Voodoo card if there's something weird like that going on. And if none of this works, I'm going to put in a freaking PowerVR PCX2, because, damn it, we're going to get some 3D acceleration going on in this machine with enough beers. Alright, we got some demos on here. First we have to install this ATV runtime, and I guess that's done. So let's go with the classic fight. Come on. Oh man, it hard froze. It hard froze. Okay. I had this card working fine in my Pentium 2 machine. However, I do have another Voodoo card I can try out. I figure, what the hell, let's just put that one in here and see if anything is different. Alright, I got my gold colored Voodoo card in there, which you can barely see. We're going to proceed with this one and freaking hope it works. Oh yeah, it's going to complain because it hard locked last time. We are booted up now, and we're going to confirm once and for all if this is a software issue. Let's head back into our 3DFX demos. And what do we get? Could not initialize graphics engine. This is refusing me at every turn. I don't know, what about another demo? How about racing here? Let's just do anything different. No? Okay, cool. What about Quake 2? Does that do anything different? I'm gonna say no. Alright guys, I'm on my third beer now, having gone through a myriad of things trying to troubleshoot the issue. The problem is, for one, I can't test the 3DFX card in DOS mode because I can't get a CD-ROM drive to get detected on this machine, because the DOS 3DFX games that I have on disk, look, there's probably ways around that, but I went ahead and I tried a PCX2, and it was looking hopeful. It at least started to initialize in Quake 2, and then it would hang. And at this point, I went ahead and I took out the 2D card that was in there, the S3, was it Vision 868, stuck in a PCI Revo 128. And this is it. This is the last thing I try. And if this doesn't work, then I'm going to call it quits on this project. So let's go ahead and get the driver installed and hope that we get somewhere finally. All right, let's start with GL Quake. See if anything is different. No RGB full screen modes available. Great, awesome. So I feel like this is probably due to trying to use a demo version of the game because it showed the same message for 3 different 3D accelerators at this point. So whatever. Skipping on now to Quake 2. Perform a legal operation. NB3DD32. Perfect. Okay. I finally have some progress to report. I went ahead and installed Final Reality, and I had to install DirectX 7 as well. And initially when I started it, it complained because my color depth wasn't set right. And I thought, huh. So I changed that. And as we'll see in a moment, it does load up. So we're going to turn off the 2D test for now, but we freaking have 3D acceleration on this system. Finally. Wow, look at that. I mean, that's not the worst frame rate ever. And yeah, the frame rate's not great, but that was the whole point of this test. Just to see if adding a 3D accelerator, even in a system this slow, could still net you, you know, a playable frame rate in games and stuff, or at least an improvement over software rendering. Now, unfortunately, this test doesn't prove that latter point for us. Wow, yeah. It's a bit of a slideshow here. Oh boy. But I got to thinking, what if that color depth thing that Final Reality was complaining about was the whole issue with my other tests? So, running the desktop in 16-bit color mode, which got Final Reality to work, does that get Quake 2 to work? Well, we're frozen again in exactly the same way we were before, so that's cool. Oh! What's happening here? Why do I have just one frame? Can I pause it? I don't know what that was about, but let's go ahead and try that again. Default OpenGL. I know this was working. Come on. Yeah! There we go. We got Quake 2 running with OpenGL acceleration. And it looks pretty good. I mean, the frame rate's not, you know, great, but this is running at 640 by 480. Oh man, that's fantastic. Okay, let's do. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's make it more apples to apples. Let's lower the resolution if it will let me. All right, so we lowered the resolution, and I can't help but notice the frame rate doesn't look that different. And that's where we're seeing the CPU limitation coming into play. So now let's go ahead and do a time demo. And remember, we were getting 8.6 FPS before in software rendering mode. So let's see what we get now. Wow, 9 frames per second. That's kind of remarkable to me because it's almost as if the CPU is somehow just as stressed doing all of the game's code plus rendering tasks as it is feeding this graphics card while running the game. That's really fascinating to me. I would expect at least some kind of a difference one way or another, but that's almost practically within margin of error there. Let me see if the frame rate is the same at a higher resolution. I kind of suspect that it would be. All right, well, this thing is very, very sketchy. It's so quirky. Like, I keep running into weird issues, like OpenGL won't initialize or whatever. But anyway, I finally got through the test at 640 by 480, and you do see the frame rate does lower a bit to 8.5 frames per second. Again, that's basically the same as software rendering. It's only slightly under 320 by 240. So again, we're just seeing more of the extreme CPU limitations here at play. So, having discovered the color bit depth mistake that I made, I think it's maybe time to revisit the 3DFX Voodoo. Alright, I'm on beer number 4, but I got the Voodoo reinstalled, the original Orchid one that I tried first, and as you can see, we have the color depth set to 16-bit, so that should not be an issue. And what I'd like to try first, actually, is a direct 3D test. So let's see if Final Reality will run on the Voodoo card. It should. Actually, never mind. It just hard froze. Can't move the mouse. Numlock is not responding. So I guess I have to do a hard reset. Okay. So let me go into the GL Quake folder here for a second because I was trying some things out. And we'll change this back. And now let's give OpenGL, actually GL Quake, a try. Right after it does this again. I just heard a click. Oh! Come on! don't get this close and then not start. Oh, man. This freaking thing. Alright. Let's, I did actually skip over the 3DFX demos. So maybe we fix that too. Incidentally, the time down here is not accurate. It's not 2 a.m. It's probably like 9 something p.m. Let's see if anything happens. It's just sitting there. It's not immediately popping up with the error, but it is just sitting there. Alright guys, the fact that the 3DFX demo didn't start doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence, but we're going to give it one last shot with Quake 2. And I did set it to soft mode, software rendering mode to start with, because that seems to be the best way to go when booting it up. And then we're going to change it to 3DFX OpenGL and hope, heard a click, monitor going to sleep. Why do you do this? Cries in retro. Alright guys, I lied. This is the last attempt. I have a game on the SD card now called Whiplash. I have it on disc. As I said before, I couldn't get a CD-ROM to detect on this motherboard. I guess it doesn't have a TAPI support. There's updated BIOSes. I'm not going to go through all that to try to fix that. I just went and downloaded the game files themselves and transferred them over. And we do have it working in here directly off the hard drive, so I didn't need to have the disk. And you can see by this demo, it runs like garbage. I'm not really sure what resolution this is. Kind of looks like it could be 640 by 480. You wouldn't play this very happily this way, that's for sure. But just hang on for a second here. Click. Yes! Oh my god! And look how much smoother it is. This is what I was trying to figure out this entire time. If the Tomb Raider demo had just worked, we would have seen this probably much earlier. Oh my god. Oh, finally. Finally, an answer to the question. That was running way smoother than software mode. Way smoother. I know it's a different demo, different track, but I mean, trust me, it wouldn't have made that big a difference. I don't know, maybe I'll jump into a game here. Let's see. No CD present. No CD present? Well, no shit, there's no CD present. There's no CD-ROM drive. Ah! Alright, well, I can't play it. But you saw the demo. You saw the 3DFX card finally working. Obviously, I had an endless software problem that just would not go away. But in DOS, we had a working game, and it ran smoothly. So, folks, I think this is where this maddening video project comes to an end. I think we accomplished what we set out to accomplish as well as we could under the circumstances, and I am just going to have to be satisfied with that. So I hope you enjoyed my torment. If you would like to see more masochistic videos like this in the future, then stay tuned to this video as my cat makes noise in the background. And thank you very much for watching, and take care.